everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Nerd Tea. I'm here with Amber Clement. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I am doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy. We were just talking off camera about how we both kind of dressed up for to kind of match your book's vibe.
Yes.
For anyone who hasn't heard about you yet, can you please let us know who you are?
So I am Amber Clement, and I am a debut author. My book, Fortune's Kiss, is right here. This is the very first book I published, which was November of 24, so pretty recently. It's a YA fantasy, a dark fantasy. It takes place in a fantasy version of Mexico where there are two best friends, Mayté and Lo, and they are very excited to enter a gambling house called Fortune's Kiss because they believe, which they rightfully believe, that they will get a wish granted and a huge fortune if they win, and that'll solve all their problems. They'll compete together as besties. But the catch is, once they are in, they realize they're gambling with their lives. So,
Yeah, it took a
yes.
turn. It takes a turn real quick.
Ha ha
like
ha.
like I knew obviously when you're reading this you're like, okay, this is gonna take a turn. But
Mhm.
it really takes a turn very quickly. Immediately
Yes.
almost. And so I can't wait. Let's talk more about it. This is the
Mhm.
section we're gonna talk about your book, and I like to call it the sip and read section.
Ooh, I
I
like it.
know. So, Fortune's Kiss, like you said, it is your debut novel, and it's such an interesting premise. The premise of like a magical gambling house. How did you come up with that?
So my situation is a bit unique in the sense that this book was made in collaboration with Electric Postcard Entertainment. So they were actually the ones that had like the great idea about the gambling house. When they first brought me on, they presented me with an idea of like a deadly gambling game. But the thing that really like appealed to me, where I was like, oh, this is the book I was meant to write, was the game that is played in Fortune's Kiss is Loteria, and that is like a game that I've played. I see. I have. That's why I keep like looking because I have this next to me. This is a game that I would play with my grandma. I mean, I guess if you don't know, if you haven't read the book, it's almost like bingo in the sense that people draw cards and then you put your little bean down if it matches. So, like, I have memories of when I was young being at my grandma's house and playing and just being just really fascinated with the pictures. So, when I found out about this book, I was super excited and I went to my grandma and I'm like, Grandma, I need to tell you a secret. I'm writing a book about Loteria. And she was super excited. So, this is actually, she gave me her old set. So, this is a set that I would have played with her when I was young. She even gave me the card deck. So as you can see, it's like very like the
That's
bottom's
so
not even on it.
cute.
But yeah, so it like when I wrote the book, I would just like look at the cards and like whenever I got stuck, it would help give me
Yeah.
inspiration.
Wait, so then
So
what did she say when she read it afterward and like saw how much of that? Because also in your character or in your book, one of your characters had also played it with her grandma.
yes, yeah. So to be honest, she's not much of a reader, so she has the book. I don't think she's read it, to be
Okay.
completely honest. But I will say I did dedicate the book to her. So if you open the first few pages, you'll see that. And it was very sweet because when I told her, she started crying. So I was like, oh.
That's
So I'm glad that like I got to share that with her.
Yeah, that is very cute. Um so also speaking about like the characters, one of them who you know that used to play with the grandma and everything, you
Hmm.
have two very unique and distinct characters in this story. Can you tell us a little bit about them, and then I will get into them specifically one on one, but just a general gist of your two characters.
Yes, yeah. So I have my two characters, Maite and Lo. So I'll start with Maite. Her biggest dream in life is to be a painter, but just her life circumstances get in the way of that. She used to be a noble, but her father gambled away all of their fortune, so they fell from grace. she is the only daughter in a family full of brothers, so it's kind of become a responsibility to take care of her brothers, kind of pick up the fallen pieces of her family. People look down on her. When the book opens, she's trying to buy paint and she can't afford it. So it's very hard on her. I think she does feel cheated, but she clings to that dream, and that dream of being able to paint, which I feel like is almost an authorly dream. Like, I feel like I could connect with her. Because, like, my dream would be, oh, I would love to be able to write without having to worry about, like,
Work.
money or working. Um, so I feel like Mayté's dream is very relatable because she goes into Fortune's Kiss hoping to have enough of a fortune to paint just at her leisure and not having to worry.
Yeah. I mean, even at some point, one of your characters is like, because the people don't ever pay artists like what they're worth. So like, I was like, yeah, that's so true.
Yes. So that's Mayté, and then Lo is her best friend. So they grew up together because they were both nobles. But Lo, she almost has the opposite problem. She has a very on the outside, she has a very charmed life. She's beautiful. She's wealthy. There are many suitors vying for her hand. She's getting to that courting age. But she is not happy. Her dad is a tyrant in the softest of terms, to say the least. And then her mother went missing 10 years ago. And Lo is determined to find her because she believes her mother ran off to Fortune's Kiss. So Lo, her dream is more to get her mother back and to just escape from her father. She has 2 younger sisters as well, so she just wants her family to be good and okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great, that's pretty description. I like how you said that they are like the opposite. Because one seemingly has one thing and not the other one has this and not the other. But I want to get into them a little bit more real quick because I think that you were hitting different themes and different types of emotions and arcs with each of them, and I found it very, very interesting. So I would love to know sort of like how you picture or like how you think of Mayté's arc.
Oh, okay. This is a good question. I feel like no one has asked me this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, this is like a really good question. Yeah, 'cause like Mayté, I feel like she's angry, but she's hopeful and she's very determined. She goes in with her goal. To some it could be selfish because her family's not doing well off financially, but her dream, her wish is for herself to be a painter. She's kind of like, whatever, like I'm done with this family. But I feel like getting into the gambling house, kind of realizing how dire things become. I feel she always has her goal of painting, but I feel like her goals shift in the sense that like she wants other people to be okay. There's some other people that she wants to like make it out alive. So in a way she becomes less selfish.
I will say though, you hit with her a very interesting dynamic that, because I am also Latina, so I grew up in that culture. Yeah. I've seen different parts of it, either myself or through friends. And with her, the whole thing about being in a family of brothers and her sort of being that caretaker or being sort of like pushed to the side in favor, I thought that was like a really interesting dynamic to hit with her and something that she kind of had to work through while she was in Fortune's Kiss. So I kind of want to know what decision to bring that into her story.
Yeah, I guess one question. Will this get into spoilers if I delve into this?
Okay. Let me think. Okay, how about give a quick answer, non-spoiler, and then you can do a spoiler, and I will move that to the end of the episode, so if anyone doesn't want to hear it, you can, like, hear the rest of this interview, but not have to be spoiled.
Okay. So I feel like the non-spoiler answer is harder but I'm going to try my best.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay, because it's a very good question. Okay, let's see how let's see how I can explain this without spoiling.
No, no, it's
Um,
hard. It's hard.
yeah, I just I kind of like related to my last answer. Like I feel like she has always had to give to people, give to her family. Um, but then when she gets into Fortune's Kiss, she kind of that's like her opportunity to kind of like do things. Okay, actually no, I know a good answer for
Okay.
this. Um, sh- she Fortune's Kiss is like her chance to be selfish, because she's grown up like not even being able to have that option. So now she has that free will. But I think the interesting part of the dynamic that I liked playing with was just like, okay, she could just, be like, whatever, I'm just doing this for me. Um, and like she has her free will, but I feel like it just really shows her character and her growth. Like there's just things that happen that kind of test her. I know I'm being very vague.
No, good, good,
Um,
good.
I will say, in kind of my non-spoilerly way, when I was thinking of like what I wanted to happen in Fortune's Kiss and like other people in Fortune's Kiss, I didn't want it to be all random. I wanted it to be people that would really like challenge Mayté and Lo, and people that would really like give them problems. I hope this was an okay
That was
answer
good.
because I know
That
it's
was
very
good. Yeah,
vague.
because it's true. Because the for those of you guys who haven't read it, Fortune's Kiss picks typically 10 people. So there's 10 people competing for this in gambling in this game. So yeah, I thought the people that you picked to be in there with the two characters was great. And like even some people they had interacted with more, some people less, but like each still had like something to challenge them.
Yes. Yeah, it was cuz I feel like cuz death games, I feel like it's not like this is like a unique concept that I invented or anything. But I feel like in the death game type genre stuff that I connect to the most are the ones where like all the like maybe not like all the contestants, but a majority of the contestants I like am either connected to or interested in, like even besides the main characters. So that was like really my goal when like picking how many contestants and like who is getting in. I just wanted it to be very like interesting. So people are like, oh, I don't care if Juan dies because I don't like him or anything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
We were rooting for quite a few people. In a very mysterious way. But no, I thought her arc was great, and I thought playing into that dynamic and like was very interesting how you did that.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, so let's move on to Lo.
Okay.
So I same with her. She has a very difficult life at home, which is why she joins, and she definitely has a big arc. With her, we definitely have to do a spoiler, non-spoiler, like a non-spoiler and then a spoiler,
Yes.
because
Yes.
that one is a bit archy. So let's do
Yes.
the non-spoiler answer first.
Okay. So about Lo's arc. So Lo, her dream that propels her into Fortune's Kiss is very unselfish. Because she's thinking about her mother, her sisters, her family, and it's not even like a specific wish like, oh, I want to become a great person or I want all these riches so I can have them. It's just I want to be able to help get my mother back and help my sisters escape from our very terrible father. But when she gets into Fortune's Kiss, I feel like not that she gets selfish, and it's not even that she, realizes she wants a goal for herself, but I guess I would just say like it's a very righteous reason for coming in, and I feel like when she's in, slowly her morals maybe shift a little more into the gray scale of things.
Yeah, yeah. She becomes morally gray.
Yes, exactly.
We're still speaking of Lo real quick because I do like the fact that she is somebody who is taking the difficulties that she has in life, and it really is doing anything that she can to survive. And it kind of like reminded me that you have quite a bit of themes here about humanity and commentary on humanity, with Lo being one of those, like, what will you do to survive like a situation, but you also have people's like desires and greed, and how much of that is selfish versus selfless, and what will you do to like make your dreams come true, like how far will you take these things. So I'm kind of wondering, what do you think are the main themes that you kind of presented in this book, and were they always the ones that you wanted to present?
Mm. This is a good question. Yeah, so ultimately I feel like the biggest dream, that's my answer. The biggest theme was dreams. Just like, what is that impossible dream that, well, first would drive people into such an insane situation? Um, because I wouldn't necessarily say this is a spoiler, but even when people go into the game, they don't know everything they're getting into, but they know that it's, it is, you don't go into Fortune's Kiss lightly. Like, you definitely know that you are gambling.
Yeah.
So just like those desperate situations, so we're putting like a bunch of people into a house with desperate situations, and then yeah, kind of like what you said, like how far people are willing to go. But I will also say, like, despite all that, like, friendship is also like a huge thing, because we have like Mayté and Lo and their love for each other, and just kind of, I guess, how that love they have for each other and even for other people, how that shapes their time in the house. Because, like, Mayté becomes less selfish due to love, but even Lo, her arc, I would say, is also propelled out of love, because a lot of the things she does is out of like a love for Mayté. So just kind of like what wishes and love do to people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like get more into spoilers, but I do feel like you hit not only with the two of them, but also with the other contestants, just like what their situation and what their life outside and their love for other people outside of the games, like what that did to them within the game, and how that, like, did they keep that, like, that their morals, or did they not?
Yeah.
Was that
Yes.
like something that was like, did you kind of know where each of the contestants, like, where that was gonna fall for them?
Yes and no, because this was a collaboration, so the team at Electric Postcard, we kind of worked together to figure out like some people's fates, which is really interesting. It kind of, this is like a book about like chance and gambling, and in a weird way, I feel like making it was almost like a chance and gambling, because there is some portions where some people's fates were like predetermined, and I got to see like, oh, okay, so this is what happens, and it was kind of fun in the sense that for me, there was some surprises, but then also me like adapting. Okay, so we know how this is going to happen, but how do we get there? So it was more like my biggest thing was like doing the lead up to what happens to people.
Okay, so that was great. I want to move on to our next section. So I want to move on to talking about your writing. I call this section "Spill the Ink." I know. It's cute. So okay, for those people who don't know, what do you mean you collaborated with this writing?
Yes, yeah. So, let's see how I'm trying to think of like how to explain this in like the most concise yet understandable way. So Electric Postcard Entertainment is a book packager. So book packagers are companies where they have ideas for books. Some are more fleshed out, like some are very, because I've also like auditioned for other books, so I kind of have seen different processes. But some are very like they want you to write this exactly in a certain way, while others are more like we have this idea, we're looking for the best writer, someone to make it their own. So with me, it was kind of the latter. Where I had the concept of the gambling house and Loteria, and I could make it my own. But at the same time, I also had a team, like whenever I got stuck, I could brainstorm with them and collaborate. So there are probably, you might have some books on your shelf that you might not even realize are from a book packager, and I hadn't heard of it when I first wanted to write. I just wanted to write my own book. I hadn't even heard of it until I was in a mentorship, and I think one of the mentors like got on a Zoom video with all of us and told us about it, and I was like, oh, like that, that kind of sounds neat. So I tried out for different opportunities, and this ended up being my debut. Like I would have never dreamed, but I think like it was perfect. I think it's like a great way to like debut because you have that collaboration, you kind of have a team behind you, because I feel like just having like that team and that support really helped with a lot of like the anxieties that come with like publishing your very first book. So it was a really good experience. Yes. Yeah.
As an aspiring writer, I can't tell you, I've like rewritten the first like 100 pages of my book like 50 times, like just like
that was
not right, but I don't know why. It's just like it's not right.
Yeah, no, that like honestly, I wasted probably like years. Like when I first was like I'm gonna become a writer and I'm gonna get published. Like I probably wasted years just like redoing like the first act of like my book over and over and over again. So I guess any aspiring people, like finish the rough draft. Just make yourself finish it. Like don't. Trust me. Trust. But yeah. Dude, I feel the pain.
I know. So what would you say was probably the biggest thing that you brought in, like, of yourself to this story?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is a good question. I feel like here, let me get a sip of water.
Oh, I totally got you, girl. I'm over here with my
hydrate. Oh, that's pretty.
Thank you.
I like that. Well, I think just my like relationship with Loteria, since that was kind of special to me, that kind of got injected into the story. And I even feel like, see, I'm kind of a baby about scary stuff, but then like I still like scary stuff at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I feel like I added, cause there's kind of like some slight, I would say very slight horror elements, like, stuff in the house. I feel like I kind of added that.
Yeah.
I feel like that was all from me. Cause like even though I'm scared of horror movies, I like kind of like watching people play scary games. And okay. I was kind of inspired by like some scarier games, just like atmospheric, like where like places don't lead to where you think they would lead to, or like there's a jump scare behind the door. So I feel like I kind of took that but kind of made it more, translated it into like a book, like prose format.
Yeah. Well, it's actually really funny that you say that because your book is YA, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but I do agree, when I was reading it I was like, this is low-key dark. Like,
yeah.
Low-key, there's some, like, twisted stuff here. Even before you get into Fortune's, the game itself, there were some dark stuff happening with Mayté and Lorena. And so I kind of, writing-wise, how did you teeter that line between keeping it YA, but still bringing in those very dark elements?
Yeah. That is a good question. I feel like even though like I guess I like writing dark stuff, even though I feel like my vibe is like the opposite of dark, but for some reason like all the stuff, well, not all the stuff, but I like a good majority of the stuff I write for some reason lately is darker. But I feel like despite that, I'm still like a very optimistic person. I try to like see the best in people. I I try to be hopeful about like happy endings. So I feel like just kind of keeping that hope, which hopefully, hopefully I was able, despite how like scary things got, I hope that I was able to keep a sense of hope in
Yeah.
there, kind of that YA um, optimism, which sounds weird, but
Well, it's true because like obviously not all YAs. I'm sure like I've been burned
mhm,
by some books before where
mhm,
you're like that was not a happy ending. I want my money back. No, I'm kidding.
mhm,
um, but I totally get what you mean. There was like a sense of hope while like as
mhm.
well when you were writing it. um, I also really want to know about the system because I know that you said that the magic itself was kind of brought to you, but you also put a
Mhm.
lot of yourself into it. Especially
Yes.
some of the cards were not ones that actually exist
Mhm.
in real life, and so I kind of want to know about you coming up a really really coming up with this magic system and what
Mhm.
cards you wanted to use and how that was writing wise.
Yeah. So I feel like first, like, Fortune's Kiss, obviously the gambling house is very magical, but even outside of Fortune's Kiss, I wanted there to be some magic. And I feel like for me that was based on, which sounds really strange, but just I guess hear me out. I based it on my grandma because I in my mind I connect like Loteria to my grandma's house, and um, my grandma is very Mexican, which I guess full disclosure, I am only half Mexican. So like when visiting my grandma, it was almost like stepping into another world. Um, she is Catholic, but like I feel like when you think of Catholic and then I think of my grandma, it's very different because she also had like superstitions. She would have like garlic above the front door. She would have like her incense and candles and like a lot of like the Lady Guadalupe
Mm-hmm.
pictures and stuff. And like as a young kid, that just felt like magical, like uniquely magical to me. So I wanted to like inject that feeling, um, like that feeling that I had as a kid. I wanted to inject that into the world of Fortune's Kiss. And as for the cards, as for like the new cards, I had made a list. I'm looking up my. I made a list of like a deck, and I wanted the familiar cards because I wanted people that were familiar with the game to be like, oh yeah, that card. And I wrote down like each card and like what it looks like and what effect it would have when played. So for new cards, really, what it was mostly like, okay, what will be most interesting for the story? Like what effects will make the story more wild?
Yeah.
And to be honest, I wish I still had the list is buried in my computer, but there are definitely like cards that like just did not make it into the story.
Oh yeah. Like you
Yeah.
thought you would. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, you know what what I was thinking while I was reading the book. Did you ever see the movie When a Stranger Calls?
No.
Okay, there's like two, I believe two versions of it, but one came out in like I don't know the early mid 2000 like 2000s or whatever,
Mhm.
and it's like a scary, it's like a suspense movie, and this girl she's babysitting the house sitting some whatever, and the house is super uh, fancy and technologically advanced, and so like you walk into each room and so it lights up on your own so you don't have to like light it up or whatever,
Oh.
and in turn what it made for the film is that the house itself almost became a character.
Mm.
Because if you
Mhm.
in a scary movie, if your character's here but you see a light turn on over there,
Mhm.
you're like, and you know that there's someone in the house, then that
Yeah.
becomes the house almost became that character. And while I was reading this, all I kept thinking I was like, okay, like Stranger Comes, like that kind of
Oh.
reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And so I want to know if you thought of the house as a character as well. while you were writing it, and how you
Yes.
used that to like advance your plot.
Yeah, yeah. So I definitely thought of the house as a character. Kind of going back to like the spooky video game thing. I feel like in a lot of those games, like the setting in itself can have a lot of scares. Like, oh, you interact with a thing and it does something you don't expect. Um, and it's funny because like when I'm thinking about like your question, it almost reminds me of like Monster House. I don't know if you
Oh
saw that
yeah,
kids movie.
yeah. I know what
Yeah.
you mean. Yes.
Um, that or even like as a kid, I would play like Mario 64. I don't know if you ever.
Yeah.
But there's like a haunted house or like a piano, comes to life and like tries to. So
Yes.
just like stuff, but obviously I'm, changing stuff to make it more like fit into Fortune's Kiss. But for some reason, I just liked scares like that. I always thought they were kind of like interesting, and like when I was writing, I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna hopefully like surprise people. Um, so because I wanted because there's a threat in the game, like
Hmm.
but I wanted like the house itself to like be a threat too, and kind of have this feeling like, oh, like is the house kind of like behind everything, or is there
Yeah.
someone controlling the house, or what's going on? So
Yeah.
yeah.
The house felt at times like you know, your best friend and
Hmm.
your worst nightmare, like
Yeah.
all like at the same time. And
Yes.
it was funny to me when how both Maite and Lo were interacting with not only the house but in general. And so I kind of want to get into, because you write dual POV
Hmm.
in this story. Can you tell me a little bit about finding the voice for each of them and sort of making sure that they sounded different, and what were you using to make them sound different?
um yeah, so gosh. Okay, because I feel like this is so bad. I feel like my go-to answer is I don't know, I just did it, but obviously like there has to be more to it than that. Um
I mean, it could be just
gosh.
like, I don't know, it just came to me. It just
No.
happened.
Yeah, cuz I well first I feel like from like the dawn of time, well the dawn of my time, because I would write like fan fiction and stuff. I loved like I feel like in fan fiction people are like very, or I don't know if they still do this, but like back in my day, people would switch the POV like just willy
All the
nilly.
time,
Like
yeah.
there'd be like 5 POV characters. So and I loved doing that. This is a bit of a tangent, but I was in a fiction writing class and I like did the POV switches, and my professor's like, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
No, I come from fan fiction as well, so I fully know that you're like you're juggling like 10 different characters in your head. You're like, yup, I got this.
yeah. But I feel like voice wise, like I wish I had like a better answer to like help people. But I feel like the biggest thing with Maite and Lo, because I've written other books that haven't seen the light of day where like the POV characters are very different. Like I've done it where like, oh, this one POV character, she curses all the time, while like the other one um talks more properly. But I feel like Maite and Lo, they really didn't have like huge speaking differences. Obviously, with Maite, she's a painter, so she's going to see the world, in more of an artistic, painterly way. Um, Lo, without getting too spoilery, I feel like it was just kind of fun to give her voice, especially as time goes on. You get more of that morally gray voice, that morally gray
Mm-hmm.
worldview. So I guess ultimately with them, me doing their voices was like just kind of trying to like see the world in their eyes and like how they would react to stuff, or like what they would think about. Especially because they're in the same location, so they could be in the same room but have two different, like they can notice different things or think about different things. So
Yeah,
hopefully that is a helpful
yeah.
answer.
I do feel that Maite romanticized the things she
Oh,
saw a little more,
yes, yeah,
and then Lo more like, how could she use this to her advantage? It's like
yeah, okay,
more of how,
yeah.
that's how the what I kind of like felt.
That makes sense. Yeah, and then kind of speaking of romance, which I thought that's what I thought you were gonna say when you started to say
Oh,
romanticize. Like Lo is very like anti-romance. She's like
yeah.
done. She just flirts to get things done to her advantage. Well, I feel like Maite, she has a wounded heart. You know, because they're at courting age, but since her family fell from grace, it's like none of the guys care. Like they're too busy wanting to get with like Lo, to get with
Hmm.
the girl that would have the higher status. And I feel like might they really internalized that. She thought like there was something wrong with her. Like why is no one, giving me any attention? So I feel like even just the opinion on romance is vastly
Yeah.
different in their POVs.
Yeah. And I do feel that it's really funny because yeah, Maite is putting her worth towards like what other people think of her, like how the other people interact with her. And I also found it interesting how Lo didn't realize, almost like she both did, but also like didn't realize all these little things that would happen for her that like
Mm-hmm.
weren't happening for Maite, you know? It's
Yes,
like the
yeah.
little way that like she moved through life. Now we would call it pretty privilege. But it's
Yes.
also like back in her time, like money privilege.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So that's another voice difference because Lo has that advantage, but she takes it for granted while Maite like sees what's happening and.
I also really liked, kind of changing a little bit of gears here, but still with your writing. I liked how and you said this earlier. This in like a fantasy version of Mexico,
Mhm.
like, and so you did take a lot of inspiration for that. And I wondered, yeah, like how was that like for you writing those kind of like bits and pieces,
Mhm.
because you use a lot of like Spanish when you write, and you use
Yes.
like real Spanish food. You
Mhm.
allude to the history of most of Latin America and their
Mhm.
relationship with Spain, for example.
Yes.
So how like I want to know like what putting those stuff in there.
Yeah. So I guess one thing I really like and appreciate that it is a fantasy version. Because I feel like when I first got the project, I was so excited, but I feel like a small voice in the back of my head was like, you don't know about history in
Mm-hmm.
Mexico. Like, what if you screw this up and then everyone hates you for the rest of your life?
Oh,
Which,
no, but I get it. I get it. I
um,
understand.
but something that helped me because I was anxious about it at first. My team was like, "Well, this is fantasy, so like you don't have to get every detail 100% right." Though
Mm-hmm.
I did do my research, but it just made me feel so much more comfortable because I'm not a historical person. In college, during my history classes, I would have a notebook and maybe I shouldn't admit this. I'd be writing like stories instead of listening.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, like I researched just kind of like what Mexico is like because it's supposed to take place 1800s, 1900s, but also
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't like super clear, which
Yeah.
gave me wiggle room. So I did get to do the research. I got to take like fun bits that I thought could work for me. Um, and like Spanish wise, like I will admit, like I am a no sabo kid. My grandparents are fluent, and then like my mom and my aunts and uncles, they like understand it, but like can't really speak it. Like my mom, she always gets like nervous. Like sometimes people like ask her stuff in Spanish, and she'll get really nervous because she's afraid she's going to say it wrong and like get
Mm-hmm.
embarrassed. So then just like the cousins, me, my sister, and the cousins, it's like we really did not get any of it except for like a few like slang nicknames or like slang words here and there.
Yeah.
So I did get a lot of help on the Spanish, which I appreciate, because I wanted to show that, like, because this is a fantasy Mexico, I wanted to show the language,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted it to be in an accessible way too, where for the most part, like, context clues will tell you.
Yeah.
But also, like, I've had some readers say, like, oh, like, I Googled, like, these phrases, so I got to see what it meant, and I'm like, wow, like, I appreciate that people, like, went the
Look.
extra
Yeah.
step.
Well,
Yeah.
I liked how you also did a lot of food, like a lot of
Yeah.
like the Mexican food, and like even some, because I'm not from Mexico, I'm from Venezuela, so like our
Okay.
food is different.
Yes.
And so like even I found myself being like, what is that? Like, and then seeing the picture and be like, okay, and now I'm
Yeah.
hungry. Okay, so thanks for that.
Yeah. And one of my favorite scenes is the part with the menudo. I don't know if you remember
Okay,
that. That's like the first the
at the
meal they
beginning.
have. Yeah,
No.
after the first game
Oh
or the
yes, yes,
first
yes.
round.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Yeah, cuz I love menudo. I oh my gosh, it's like one of my favorite foods. But
Yeah.
okay, so I guess for people who don't know, which this is gonna sound disgusting, but I promise it's good. It's a tripe soup, which tripe is like this is like cow stomach, but like it's so oh my gosh, it's so I feel like almost everything I write like mentions menudo. But I
That's gonna be
love
your through line through the books. Like you'll know
I
it's an Amber Clement book.
with the menudo scene or the mention of it. But
Yeah.
I was so proud of the thing that happens with the menudo because I'm like, yes, this is
I totally. And then you had the paella at some point,
yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
I love. And it actually like made me it like reminded me that I haven't had some in quite some
Ooh
time, and like now I'm like craving paella like
ooh.
a lot, like a lot. Um, but yeah, no, I like that you put that in there. So does that mean that you had like two different editors, one that would look at the Spanish and English side, or
Okay.
like how did that work?
Yeah. So that is a good question. So the the in-house editor I worked with knew some Spanish, not like Mexico dialect, but
Mm-hmm.
she was fluent, so she kind of guided me. But then once it was published, kind of like a big point, a big important thing to me was that I wanted some sensitivity readers. Who I
Yeah.
wanted someone who was fluent in Spanish but like Mexican dialect, and then someone who was just like familiar with like living in Mexico, um, just because I really wanted to make sure like I wasn't like butchering anything or like saying anything offensive. So
Mm-hmm.
that was something I really appreciated. And that gave me a lot of peace of mind because I feel like the Spanish I was very anxious about the Spanish.
I thought it was great. I was like, oh, we even have like the tildes, like, and everything, like all the accents. I was like, okay then.
And then a fun fact about the accents. This is gonna make me sound horrible.
No.
Because I'm there's a way to do it on the keyboard. There's a shortcut, but I
Mm.
never figured it out. So like I was just copying. I would Google like the
Yes, I've done that.
accent and then
Hmm.
copy and paste it. I need to learn. I need to learn how to the shortcut because I'm sure there's a shortcut.
Well, I don't know in every, because I think it's different, but I have a Mac, and I know that if
Hmm.
I hold down on a letter, then you
Oh.
get all the options, and then you click like one,
Oh.
two, three,
Uh huh.
four as you hold it down, depending on like, so like
Oh.
the accent one way is like one, the accent
Hmm.
one the other way is two, the ñ is like I don't know now,
Hmm.
but like let's say four, like so yeah, that's how you do it in the Mac. I don't
Oh.
know everywhere else, but yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
know
don't have a
because when I
Mac.
write, I use accents as well, like
Hmm.
just to for my made up languages, and so like
Oh, nice.
thanks. So yeah, so I've had to learn as well.
Yeah, and then because Mayté's name has one on the E,
Yes.
and oh my gosh, I don't know if I should be admitting this. I think like in the first draft, I had the accent facing the wrong way, so like the editor had to go and change all of them, and I'm like, I am so sorry. I
No, it's
fail.
hard. The accents like they're not easy to learn or to yeah, they're not easy at all. Did this kind of, because you just said you're half Mexican, you
Hmm.
are a self-proclaimed nosao kid, so did this kind of make you feel like closer to that family?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it all ties back to Loteria, which every time you see me, it's because I'm looking at
Looking at it.
this. And I even I got like a little bag to like put the
Oh, that's
the boards
cute.
in.
That's very cute.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've always like just related Mexican culture to my grandma.
Mhm.
Um, because like to me, like in my life, she's always been like that person.
Yeah.
And like my connection, because even as a kid, I was just so proud of like I ate menudo and like
Yeah.
it's this soup that no one else knows about, but I love it. Um, but so yeah, like just that the story was about Loteria, did really make me feel connected to my grandma. And I feel like that really encouraged me to like go the extra mile just to like really do my research to really get into the culture and the world.
Yeah.
And it's just like an honor that like I got to do this project.
I thought it was great. I mean, like again, I'm not Mexican, and I don't have that like that connection to Mexico. But from the outsider, like an outsider Latina, like it
Mm-hmm.
all like was it was great to see like something in the culture be in fantasy because you don't see it a lot.
Yeah.
So it was actually nice to
Yes.
see, and it was nice to see Spanish and like I was like I understood that. Like, you know,
Oh.
so it was I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect
Mhm.
it when I first picked it up, and so it was very nice to like
Oh, I'm
have seen
glad.
that.
Yeah.
um, I want to ask a couple more questions about your writing. I want to
Sure.
know are what is your pre-planning process like?
Mm. Good question. So I'm a big planner. Um, so I will say if anyone, any aspiring writers or any like writers watching, if you enjoy planning, if you enjoy going by a plan, like definitely I think working with a book packager is like a um, good option because they do already have that plan. Um, but like normally, or even though I had the plan, I still made an outline. I like to outline like every chapter and what happens. I will say as I've gotten more experienced, my outlines do get a bit looser.
Mm.
Um, I don't really plan out the characters as much. I might have like a basic idea of who they are, but I feel like I hate drafting. And I feel like this is partly why, because I feel like I don't get to know the characters until like I finish the first draft.
Yeah, like you don't get to hear their voice. Like, who are
Mm-hmm.
you? Until they tell you, literally.
Yeah. So first drafts are very awkward and painful and not fun for me. But then everything else after that is like
Yeah.
smooth sailing.
Are you an edit as you go person, or like you're just like, let's write this mess and then figure it out later?
Um I my big mistake when I first started was trying to be an edit as you go person.
Okay.
Um One good thing about working on this book as a debut is there were deadlines. So like, I mean, obviously, it was they worked with me, so they weren't going to be like, okay, you need to lock yourself in this dungeon for like a month and then finish like 100,000 words in a month. Nothing like that. But I will say it like forced me to like, okay, like I need to keep going. I need to finish this. Um I have tried, like even after Fortune's Kiss, I drafted a book, and at first I'm like, okay, I'm gonna edit as I go. I think it helped in the first act,
Mm-hmm.
just because in the first act, you want to get to the inciting incident in a certain amount of time, and I tend to overwrite, so it just kind of helped me make sure
Yeah.
everything is where it needs to go. But I'd say after the first act, it was just better for me to plow through because then I could fix it later.
What is something that you like thought about your writing style before, and now that you're published? Like, what do you know? What do you notice that you've learned about your writing style?
Ooh, this is a good question. Hmm. Well, I guess so I think this is a lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of me feeling like I didn't know what I was doing because honestly, like I really didn't expect. I mean, I did my best, obviously, but I really didn't expect Fortune's Kiss to like come out as good as it did. Like I kind of was like, I don't even know if this is good. I think from like revising it so much and just being a
Mm.
beginner, at the time I didn't have an agent for like most of the duration of it, so I just was really feeling down, and I'm like, this I don't even know if this is good. But then like once feedback, from readers came in, it was like, oh, like this is a very lush prose. I feel like I've always thought that my writing style is very like understandable, like simple and understandable and like
Very
conversational.
accessible. Yeah.
But I didn't realize that it's also like very detailed and like lush. So that was kind of like, oh, cool. Like I didn't think I wrote like that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So, do you have any advice for anyone who is like about to be a debut author, or is a debut author?
Yeah. Um, yeah, so I guess pre-debut, um, if you can, don't look at your reviews.
Oh yeah, I've
I
heard that
I
one
actually have
thing.
managed not to. I only if someone tags me in something, I will look at it, or like, every once in a while I'll just Google Fortune's Kiss just to see if there's anything new that has happened. And
Mm-hmm.
like occasionally, you see like a website and it'll have like a little blurb of what they're saying. Like there's been a few times where if I could tell like, oh, it's a good review, I'll look at it. But
Yeah.
otherwise, like I've only looked at Goodreads just to see like how many people review and just see like, okay, how many, just like because there's a chart at the top that shows like how many like 5 stars and four, like how many
I
stars.
know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So I've looked at that, but I've not like actually gone down and looked. My mom is funny. She reads my reviews, so she summarized all the bad ones, which really was helpful because she's my mom, so she's not going to be like, oh, this person thinks you're a terrible
Yeah.
writer. Like
Yeah.
she's gonna
You suck. Like.
she's gonna say it in a more soft way, and it's like, oh, okay, so
Yeah.
this is what people didn't like about it. And it's like, okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, for me, I feel like that was a big thing that helped. And just like, I know this probably sounds bad, but just try to go in without expectations. Because there's so much out of your control. Like you don't know like what you're going to get. You don't know if you're going to hit any lists. So it's almost better to just go in not really expecting to get anything. So then like when you get stuff, it's like more of a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Which is a lot easier said than done, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. I feel like it's like human nature. We're just so curious to see what people think about us. But it's like it must be torture to be like, no, don't look.
Yeah.
Don't do
Uh,
it.
and then I guess just like focus on the next book, the next thing. I mean, obviously celebrate what you're doing, but I think like focusing on like your next project will really help. See, even though I don't look at reviews, I've had some people say like, "Oh, I didn't like this about the book," or even I've been tagged in like a review that was kind of like so-so. But
Wait, in
it
person,
doesn't.
people will do that to you?
Yeah, I've had a few people say things not like in a mean way, but just kind of
Okay.
be like, "Oh, like I didn't really like this," or like I thought this could have been better. But like it stings less because it's almost like I loved making Fortune's Kiss, but like it's almost like now that it's out, I'm a little more detached because I have like new projects that are like, oh, this is my
Hmm.
baby. So, any, I mean, not that I'm looking for the bad things people are saying, but it helps it sting a lot less when, because I feel like you're inevitably, even if you avoid reviews, like someone's gonna say something or someone's gonna tag you in
Yeah.
something. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
That's true. Okay. Well, I want to move on to my very last section. This is like my more random miscellaneous section to get to know you a little better. I call it
Okay.
Talk Nerd Tea to Me.
Ooh.
I know, I know. Continuing on with the fact that you are a debut author, what is like the one memory from this past, like not even a year, that
Mhm.
has like been really meaningful to you as you celebrate your first book?
Yeah, so the thing, well, I feel like there's two things,
Okay.
if it's okay.
Yeah.
So the first one, this was like the day before my launch. Um, there was a Barnes and Noble like opening, like a grand opening, and it was like the one. Well, see, for some reason there weren't a lot of Barnes and Noble in my area, but they were opening one that would be in my area, so that in itself was exciting. But they contacted me because they wanted me to like cut the ribbon,
Oh, that's
and
cute.
yeah,
That's
so
cute.
that was like amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like, because so many people came for the opening, but then they all like they bought my book, they wanted me to sign it, and like like I remember like my hand was starting to get sore from like signing so many, but it was such like it was wild because it's like all these. I mean, obviously they were there more for the Barnes and Noble, and I was probably just like, oh, the extra like local author, but still it was like, oh,
It,
they're
I
getting my
mean,
book.
it works. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like very magical and very unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing was the week. So books come out on Tuesday. So my
Mm-hmm.
book. Oh, okay. So the book came out on Tuesday, and then the I think the ribbon cutting was Wednesday. But then Friday, I got to go to Y'all Fest.
Which is where we met.
Well, yes, yeah, yeah.
I think we talked about it before we
Yeah.
started. Yes, that's where we met, yeah.
Yes. So that was like super surreal. Like there's all these like famous and like more people that are like farther in their career. Like they're here. There's also like some people here for me. We had like an event where we played Loteria, and
I saw. I
and
got
like
there
that.
too late.
Oh. But like that got sold out. Well, not whatever. It wasn't a paid
Yeah.
event, but it got filled up, and I was like, wow, like these people are here for Fortune's Kiss. So that was like very amazing. Like I was a very shy author. So yeah, if you're an author there, I was very shy. So I
will
probably
say, though, shy or not, because I saw you at a panel.
yes.
That was
Oh my
where I
gosh.
heard, because I saw the event and I thought the description sounded cool, but I hadn't heard of Fortune's Kiss for the event. I just read the description. I was like, hey, that sounds like a fun thing to do. But I couldn't get to it. So the first time hearing about it was during the panel. And you were very good at like plugging in your book
Oh.
at any time. Like I just remember any question. It's like, so like, what's your favorite color? You know what? It's blue. Like my book has blue. Like you were very good at it. Like I was like,
thank you.
girl, that marketing. Like that's good.
Oh, and I remember that panel because I was seated in between Victoria Aveyard and Tracy Dion,
yeah.
and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like a little tiny compared to these amazing people, and I'm so I don't even remember what I said because I feel like that was just like a blur. So I'm glad that I said good stuff.
No, you did. That was what made me be like, wait, I kind of want to, like, I bought it afterward, actually. That was why I bought it. Because everything afterward was just like, and my book. And I was like, okay, I got to read this book. Like, did you get to talk to the other panelists at all? Did they say anything to you?
Yeah, I got to talk to them a little bit. But honestly, like, I hope someday I could go back again because, like I said, I was just so, like, shy and, like, nervous that, like, I really didn't get to talk to authors as much as I should have. But I feel like now that I've kind of, I've been around the block, I feel like if I went again, I'd probably be a little more confident in myself and, like, be able to approach, people better. So, I mean, fingers crossed one day.
Yeah, and I mean, I get it. I like, it's so weird to like read from an author you love for so long and then all of a sudden they're like right next to you and you're like, hello? And I'm assuming it must be even weirder where now they're also colleagues of, like, in a way, like they're your peers, not colleagues, your peers.
Yeah.
So it must be like really weird to be like, wait, I read you and now you're my peer. Like,
yeah. It was surreal.
yeah. Who was the author that was like not just in Y'all Fest, but in general that you've met since you've published your book that you've been like, oh my god, like I can't believe that I'm meeting you as an author.
Yeah, so this was at Y'all Fest. I met Veronica Roth. I love your mug. Author of Divergent. We were at like a dinner and my marketing team was there, so I was all shy, so I sat with them and then like, oh, Veronica Roth's here, and then like she came and sat at the table and I was like but and there I'm so awkward. I'm like, can I get a picture with you? So there's a picture on my Instagram. And it's so funny because my sister came like as my plus one. And my sister's a lawyer, so she's a lot better socially than me. So at the SmackDown, my sister was sitting next to Veronica Roth and like chatting with her, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so that was like, holy guacamole, like, wow.
Yeah.
And because I'm from like the Chicagoland area, so we were like on the same plane, like home and all, like.
Oh, with her as well?
Yeah.
Nice.
So that was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
She's one of those. Her Divergent and I don't know if you ever read the book Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick.
I've heard of it, but I've not read it.
Okay. Those two books were like the beginning of my obsession with like the morally gray.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
like they were the ones who are like that made me be like, I must. And like even though it's not fantasy, like Four gives off like Shadow Daddy vibes to me.
Mm.
So him and the male love interest in
Yeah.
Hush Hush were like my OG morally gray Shadow Daddy.
Yeah.
Like they were like my obsession. So I
Yes.
understand.
I love that. Oh, and then I'll also add, Veronica Roth did give me advice, which I already mentioned this, but she told me, don't look at Goodreads.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's like, it's like now I can never look at Goodreads ever again.
Good. It's gone. Okay, so was there anything that surprised you about the industry that you didn't something that you didn't realize or you didn't expect before you debuted?
Yeah, let's see. Yes. I never expected I never expected how hard it would be to like get an agent. Because I guess I could go into this. So I was trying to get an agent around the time I had submitted a sample to Electric Postcard. At the time it was just Cake Creative. They're like sister companies. I was querying, I was having like a terrible time, like no one wanted my book. And I actually like used like the first few chapters of that book to like send as my sample. And I remember I was at my friend's house and I'd gotten a rejection from like one of the last agents that had my full, and they were like, I love the writing, I love the characters, but I don't like the fantasy element of this. Like if this was contemporary, I'd take it. And I was like, like, okay, if this agent's saying this, is everyone thinking this? And I remember I told my friend, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to write a new book. Like, I don't think this is gonna get me an agent. And my friend's like, oh, that's not fair. And I'm like, I know. And then, like, a few hours later, I got the email from Cake, and they're like, hey, we want to work with you. So, and then
Door
like
closes, another one opens.
Yes. And despite that, I did briefly get an agent, but she left the industry before like we could really do anything. And then I was looking for an agent for like a year. So like even though like I had this book that like I was writing, this book that was going to be published, like it was still very hard. Yeah.
Yeah. It does still feel like this very like secret world of like how you get an agent. It feels so elusive and so mysterious, you know?
Yeah. And I will say though, because I recently had changed agents, like once the book is actually out, it's easy. It's easier to get an agent. Like that was not, well, it was a connection that I had, but once you have a book out, you kind of have that connection, you kind of have that clout, but like before that point, it's very hard. Like, and I was definitely through it, definitely cried, had those like dream agents, like had an art. One day, I have a video, which is probably very over dramatic. I had an R&R, and then the agent rejected it, and I have like a video of me crying. If that book ever sells, I'm gonna post the video, but so I don't know, we'll see. The book has to sell first. But yeah, no, so my heart goes out to like people that are like trying to get an agent and they don't have a book out yet, because it's hard. It is very hard. Yeah.
Okay, let's do a quick like rapid fire here.
Okay,
we're almost done. So, who was easiest to write, Mayté or Lo?
I know I'm supposed to be rapid firing. Mayté is probably easier because I connect to her more, but Lo was more fun.
Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, who outside of your two main characters was your favorite character to write?
The banker.
The banker. The banker was, when you brought in the banker, I know we didn't talk about the banker, but when you brought in the banker, I was like, intrigued. And it goes back to the Hush Hush Divergent thing.
Yeah, okay, listen. Quick plug. Like, literally every book I will write, except for maybe my middle grade, will have kind of something like that. I feel like that's kind of, So, then if you know, you know.
To read it, because I love that stuff. What is a favorite card that you use?
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
You had the card. I love that. Yes,
This
that
one,
was a good one. That
this
was
one
a
was
good one.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was great how it was used. That was a good one. I like that one. Would you play Fortune's Kiss?
No.
No.
No, I am like, which is so funny that I wrote this book. I'm the most like risk averse person, so I'd be like, when they find out like what kind of they're sacrificing to get in, I'd be like, all right, bye, thanks for the meal.
I'd be like, bye.
Yeah.
Um, you talk, and we kind of talked about this. Well, actually, you kind of answered this, but just for the sake of rapid fire, what was the favorite food that you talked about?
Menudo.
Yeah, I just needed it for this section.
Yeah.
I know the answer. And that was it for rapid fire. Okay.
Oh,
I
okay.
want to ask you real quick. I have this thing that I'm doing where I have the last author that I interviewed ask a question for my new author. So this is a question that my last author, her name is Sarah Beth Thirst. She has written 30 books. I know. The latest being a series, but kind of standalone, cozy fantasy, The Spell Shop and the Enchanted Greenhouse. So this is a question that she had for you.
I want to know what brings them joy when they write. What do they love the most about writing?
You know, it's funny. I watched just to prepare for this. I did watch that episode, but
Oh,
then
you did?
I wasn't sure if that was like the last person that you had actually talked to, and then I ended up forgetting what the question was anyways. So I should have been more prepared for this,
No,
but
no, it's fair because sometimes it's not the same. It's not the same.
yeah, yeah. What is the thing that brings you the most joy?
About writing.
Yeah, so I feel like when everything is working, like when the things that I'm writing, it's like working, it's going as I want it to. Just kind of that feeling of everything coming together, but also just like writing those little scenes and just thinking like someone's gonna read this and someone's going to like relate to this or someone's gonna find it funny, or maybe this will just like help someone. Maybe they're going through something and needing to see this. So yeah, I feel like those are the things that bring me the most joy.
Yeah, love that. That's a great answer. So, what question do you have for the next author?
I should have been prepared for this.
It's a brand new segment. I've only been doing it like a few times, and I love this segment.
Okay. And everyone you talk to are like they've already been published.
Yes, they've all been published, but they're different. Like some are indie, some are not, some are debut, some are very established. So,
Okay. I feel like this question might be a little mean, so I'm sorry in advance, but I'll do kind of two different options. What is either the most embarrassing or the most wild like thing that has happened while you're writing this book? Or this could be even like after it's published related to like events. So I'd say either during the writing process or events, like what's the most embarrassing or wild story that you have?
Well, now you know you have to answer that too, right? So, like, now I'm going to ask you, what is that for you?
Oh no, what have I done? Okay, I do. Okay, I have one.
Okay. Oh,
Okay.
God.
All right. Okay, so we were talking about Veronica Roth.
Yeah.
I don't know if okay, so on the way home, I was in the airport, like waiting for the plane, or waiting for, that was my first time riding a plane. But I was waiting for whatever, the thing where you could get on the plane.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, I was like stuffing my face with like, whatever, Dunkin' Donuts or what have you.
Yeah.
And then this person comes up to me and they like recognized me, from Y'allfest. And I thought / think that they were a reader. But then later I sat with like my sister and then some like people from Sourcebooks, and then we were talking about how I saw Veronica Roth like before, and then my sister she turns to me and she's like, Veronica Roth's sitting over there, so stop being so loud. And then I was like, was Veronica Roth the person that talked to me? And I thought that she was, because So I don't know. To this day, I don't know. But because at least at Yalfa, she was wearing like this really fab, bold lipstick. And then
Yeah,
the person
people,
talking to me did not have lipstick on. And I'm so bad at recognizing people. I'm
I
like a
understand.
really,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like if
So
you don't see them in the same context, you're like, I've never seen you in my
yes.
life.
So this haunts me because to this day I don't know if it was her or if it was just a person that kind of had a similar hairstyle.
Yeah. Now I feel like I need to reach out to Veronica.
So I'm sorry if it was you. I'm just a little goober that doesn't know anything.
Oh, I love that. I understand. I understand completely. That was a great. I might have to like tag her or something when I post this just to see if she even answers. She might not see it. Like why,
Yeah. I mean,
But like
she's so
just in
fab.
case,
She might be
yeah.
busy being fabulous.
We just need to know, Veronica, was that you? I love that. All right, and this final question, can you tell everyone what is next for you? What's your next project? What are you working on? What's happening?
Yes, yes. This is what I'm prepared for.
Okay.
So nothing official yet. But I am working on a young adult novel. It's a young adult horror about a relationship gone horribly wrong. And that is all that I can say for now. But hopefully, in the future, it goes somewhere and I could tell everyone more.
Yeah. And is this the one that you were getting rejected on?
No, so
Okay.
that was a middle grade.
Okay, okay.
Um, so that one kind of put that off to the side for now, but maybe one day.
Okay.
And that's the one where if it gets bought, I will post my crying video.
Yes. And if it happens, let me know so that I can reference this interview and be like, actually.
Just like add my crying video in.
Yeah, just like I need to go back and edit this. Hold on. All right. Well, that was it for me. Thank you so much, Amber. This was so great. I loved your book. It like already when you were talking about it in Y'all Fest, I was interested, but it still took me by surprise how much I enjoyed it and how stressed I was. How stressed I was while I was reading it. I was like,
I'm sorry.
I was like, I'm sweating. So I'm so glad that I was able to read it, and I'm so glad that I was able to talk to you about it, and I am very like excited to see where you go next with your career.
Thank you. And yeah, it was really fun being on here, so thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, and for everyone out there, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Nerd Tea with Amber Clement talking about her book, Fortune's Kiss. So go read it. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this conversation. Bye.
Bye.
And now this is the spoiler section. Let's hear about a little bit more about Mayté and Lorena, and these are a little bit more spoilers.
We were talking about Mayté, like the family stuff. I put her brother Carlos into Fortune's Kiss. And, I was trying to think of competitors, and I was like, oh, like we need to put her brother in. Like, that's
Yeah.
going to cause... Because I feel like, it was... I mean, not to pat my own shoulder, but, I really liked the setup of her family and how she feels neglected. And then it's like, oh, but she's going into Fortune's Kiss... So I didn't want, like, I still wanted, like, a lifeline towards the family just to remind her of that, but to also add the struggle of, oh, great, there's another person. Because they went in originally, like, Mayté and Lo, they're like, okay, we're going to work together, we're going to look out for each other, like, screw everyone else. But then when her brother's there, it's like, oh, crap, like, there's this third person that we have to look out for, and that makes it a whole lot more complicated. And even just kind of showing his perspective of how he feels about the family situation and kind of because at the beginning of before Fortune's Kiss they're kind of strained, and going into Fortune's Kiss they're strained, but just giving them that chance to rekindle, reconnect.
Yeah, I do like I did have the thought while I was reading that I was like, that is very typical younger sibling not noticing like some of the older sibling pressure. And I do like that that Mayté did notice, or like did eventually learn that like that she wasn't forgotten by him, that like he had his own things and his own like pressures and his own feelings towards what was happening with the family, and just like she felt like he wasn't there for her, like he felt like she wasn't there for him in a way. So like I thought
Yeah.
that was a very I was stressing though the entire time. The moment that you brought
Yeah.
him in, I was like, if this man dies.
I know.
I don't know why, because obviously we didn't get to know him a lot before
Mm-hmm.
Fortune Kiss, but for whatever odd reason, I like immediately liked him. And so when you brought him in, I was like, if this woman kills this guy, I'm gonna riot on the streets.
Oh no.
Like I'm literally gonna riot. So I thought that was a good choice of you to like bring him
Thank
in.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I loved all your family dynamics and how
Thank you.
even with Lo, how like his sisters, like because it was funny with Carlos having that pressure, but Lo had her pressure because
Mm-hmm.
she was the one keeping how bad things with their dad were from her sisters. Like so that
Yeah.
was her, not being recognized by her younger sisters of the things that she was doing for them. So I thought that was like a nice little parallel. The house was changing both Mayté and Lo, like almost from the beginning in the way that they were thinking about themselves and the way that they were thinking about others. So like, did you have both of their crazy arcs in your head from the beginning?
This is a good question. Might they? Not exactly. We're in the spoiler section, right?
Yes, you can be spoiler in this
Okay.
part. Yeah.
I think though I always kind of had it in my mind that Maite was more of like the good guy, the good one, where she would do the right thing no matter what. And Lo, I feel like I always kind of had it in my mind that she almost like the twist on a damsel in distress, because she acts like all cute and helpless, kind of as a way of survival, like fawning. I always had the idea that she was going to be like surprisingly like almost like femme fatale, like strong.
I mean,
But
she wore the black dress at the
yes,
end, like
yes,
or like dark dress, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But because I think originally the plan was more like, oh, she'll pull out a knife on someone if she needs to. But I think the kind of the catalyst that we really decided like, okay, she's she's gonna be stabbing people like actually. The point, we were kind of planning out the point where they go to Fortune's Kiss, and I was like, okay, like there is no way her dad's just gonna let her go. Like something has to happen, and it has to escalate. So, she kills him, and I think from that point on, it was just like, okay, like, yeah, we're doing this. We are full on committing to this, and I think it was perfect.
Yeah. And I think I also liked how from the beginning she was somebody who was like it kind of made sense for her to think of her survival, like always, whatever that meant.
Yes.
Like, however that presented herself, it was like she's gonna survive no matter what. And I feel like that kind of tied into it.
Yes, you get it.